Hello, 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 and welcome to today's podcast of Her Version, a podcast dedicated to hearing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and if you are new to this podcast, make sure you follow, like, subscribe, and share. Today, we have an amazing guest speaker with us, Nicole. Nicole is a mother living in Costa Rica, living her best life. She is a wealth and wellness alchemist who loves hosting retreats that transform people's lives through self-devotion so they can create their best life. Looking at Nicole now, you would never know the challenges that she has endured in her life. Today, she is here to tell her story in order to inspire and uplift women who are going through their own hardship right now. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you so much, Sabrina, for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
Thank you. And thank you for bringing such a beautiful background to our podcast.
Yes, we are here on the edge of the jungle in Costa Rica, this beautiful valley behind me of Platanillo. So I'm so grateful to be here.
I love it. I love it. How long have you been living in Costa Rica?
I've been here for 8 years now. So
originally from where? Originally from
New York. I was born and raised in New York and came here from New York City. I'd lived there for 8 years before coming down to Costa Rica.
Wow. 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 That is so awesome. Were you scared moving?
Well, I mean, I think everyone always has a little bit of some sort of fear in them when there's something new, right? Like there was like the butterflies, the excitement of what will happen, because it was truly an unknown for me. I had no plan and I was just like, I'm doing this. But I knew in my heart that I needed to trade the concrete jungle for the real one.
Wow. For real. You weren't kidding with that.
Yeah. I now have a weed whacker and a saw across the street. Let me know if that's a problem. I can totally head inside.
Okay. For right now, I can hear you just fine, but I'll just let you know.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's fine. It kind of just sounds like a lizard rustling through bushes.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll just pretend it's jungle cicadas.
Exactly. Too funny. So listen, we are here today to talk about a little bit about your past and a lot about what you're doing now and things that you've created and what you have going on over there in Costa Rica and the life that you have made for yourself despite, the things that you've gone through. So I thought it would be awesome, if you don't mind, kind of, going back a little bit into, some of the struggles that you kind of endured, childhood, teenage, adult, wherever you want to start, and kind of just give us an idea of, where you came from and the things that have gone on in your life.
Yeah, I would be happy to share. I'm really an open book because I truly believe that as we move through life, as we heal ourselves, it's almost like our duty to then give that information to others so that they can heal too. And that's a huge part of the work that I do. So let's start from the beginning. Well, actually, when I was born, the doctor handed me to my mom, who was right out of high school, basically, and said, this one's been here before. And I truly think I came into this world like knowing that I had a purpose, which is good because I definitely faced a lot of struggles. I was born with a lot of different internal differences than most human bodies, which I was completely unaware of, obviously. But at the age of 2.5, I had to have my first major surgery, which put me into, they had to actually like live in a bubble for a week afterwards. And so it just kind of taught me from the very beginning, like strong resiliency and how to like just kind of, it was interesting to sort of be a guinea pig at such a young age because the doctors hadn't really ever seen what was happening in my body. They'd never seen it before. And so it was like experimental surgery and experimental everything, treatments as I was going through everything. And it really just kind of gave me that sense of, well, and two sides of the coin, the sense of like, wow, I'm really different. No one understands me. But then also like, okay, everything's going to be okay. And I'm just going to like fight for it and make my way through this. So I don't know. It was kind of interesting being in a bubble, but but I got out of it. I made it out of there.
How
And
old were you? How
I
old
was
were you?
2.5 when I had that surgery. And I often think back now on it, you know, as I am a mother now, and like, what was my mom going through? She was only 20 years old. It must have been so scary for her to, and my father, I have two parents, my parents are together, but like, it must have been so scary for them to be going through that and to see their child, like, you know, all like,
Wow.
we've never seen this before and we don't know how we're going to fix this. And oh, maybe we'll do this and all, you know, just all these crazy experimental things that had to happen. Um, so yeah, I give my parents so much credit because I definitely came in with some challenges and challenged
Wow.
them as well. So then into my teenage years, they figured out that I had some more issues. These ones being upper digestive. I grew up as a competitive dancer. I loved dancing, and that is truly how I commune with divine alignment. How God moves through me is through movement and dance, and it just is my happy, my joyful place. So I was a competitive dancer, and again, commend my parents for all the work that they put in to get me to all those classes and lessons and competitions and all the things. But along with that came what others expected, that I would have body issues, and I really didn't. I loved my body. I loved everything about myself. I was super grateful for this amazing machine, but I had these differences that were not like any others, and other people thought that I was bulimic, and and so this was finally brought to my attention, my mom's attention. And when she brought it to my attention, I was like, no, I'm not doing this on purpose. What do you mean no one else is doing this? This isn't like a thing everyone's doing. And so again, I was brought into the doctors and they did all these tests, and it turned out, oh, this is a crazy abnormality. We've never seen this before. And so again, I was put in the space of like, wow, I'm really different. Like they've never seen this before, like being sent to specialist after specialist. And all of these things. And it was kind of that same story of, okay, you're really different. And we want to basically experiment on you. Let's pump you full of these types of pills or those types of things. And that was really where I started to become standing in my own sovereignty when it came to my body
Wow.
and what I was going to allow. They wanted to do a bunch of different experimental actual surgeries after all these other treatments and testing and all this other stuff. And I just basically said, no, like, I have a strong sense that I can do this myself. Like I made it this far and I never knew it was a problem. I never knew that everyone in the world wasn't made just like me, you know? So, so I took it upon myself to start looking into what I was eating. And actually I had already done that as a child. I refused to eat a lot of things that were like normal foods for other kids because I knew that they made me sick. And so my body is highly sensitive to chemical additives and processed meats and things of, you know, just things that we really probably shouldn't be eating.
Wow.
So my body does best with whole foods that are from the earth and haven't been messed with. And so again, that kind of led me to what I do now and helping people to transform through self-devotion. It's about listening to your own body, listening to your own journey. And the other thing that was a big struggle that I didn't actually recognize as a struggle until later in my teenage years was that I was also sexually molested as a child. And during that time was being told that this was love and this was how we express love. And I thought that I was, you know, so loved. And I was just maybe not in an appropriate way. And so that kind of was a big journey for me through college as I recognized, wait, this wasn't okay, actually.
Wow.
Really not okay. And so yeah, that was a huge journey for me through my college years and in through my 20s of processing that and processing like so what is love then? What is really a truly loving relationship that is non-toxic, where we're both making healthy decisions and there's full consent on both parties, and age appropriateness and all of this thing. So yeah, there have been a lot of struggles. But as I said, I'm really grateful for them because at each and every turn I was brought into my own power and I was brought into my own healing, and I was able to see that I could be responsible for that.
100%. 100%. What would you say as far as, are there any differences between who you are now and who you were then? Like, What kind of person would you say you were growing up? Is she a different woman, lady, girl than who you are now?
That's a really interesting question. And I love that you bring it up because I've been doing a lot of inner child work these past few years. And I would say that I'm actually mostly the same. And I think that that's an important part, an important piece for many people with the work that I do in divine alignment is recognizing that you are made perfectly. You are made perfectly for your journey, for your soul's mission on this particular lifetime in this moment. And that it is a mission that you were sent here to do this, right? And so I think I've always had that strong sense. As I said, the doctor said, this one's been here before. It was like my soul came in knowing
Wow.
that this was a mission, right? And that I was going to face these trials and tribulations. And it's not to say that they were easy by any means, but I think I always had this sense of there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Like I went through some sort of depressed. I wouldn't even say that it was truly depression until my later years. I did definitely face depression later, postpartum. But as a child growing up, the girl that I was growing up until the woman that I am now, I think I hold pretty steadfast. I've always known my values and who I was. There was definitely that sense of being different that was really hard at times. I do remember crying sometimes about just being so different, like knowing that other people did not see and experience the world in the same ways as me. I've always been really connected to energies and being able to I still don't even know how to explain it. It's like unexplainable in the language of what we have to deal with, but I can see and feel energies in different ways than other people. And I loved to reorganize people's spaces, even as a 7-year-old, which led to my business later in New York City. But I just could feel that this room would work. You would feel a lot better in your own space if we moved these things around,
Oh,
and my parents' friends would have let me do it at their houses. And
wow.
it was interesting because I could just feel the energy and feel the lines and the things. And so I think that I also relied very heavily on dance because, again, that was my connection to source. I wouldn't have described it that way as a child, obviously, but I just knew that was where my true joy was and that brought me all the happiness in the world. And, again, I didn't ever have the body issues that sometimes dancers deal with and stuff. I just was in my happy place there. So yeah.
100%. 100%. So when you first started kind of going into the field of, transformation or personal growth or, however you, whatever vocabulary words you use for that, did it kind of start out with the organization? Was that your first step into it?
It really was. Yeah. So while I was in college, I needed money. And I happened to be in one of my professor's offices one day. She was actually my advisor as well. And I could just feel that the room was not helping her. And she actually was going through cancer treatments at the time. And so I said, hey, could I help you out here? Can I reorganize your office and do some magic in here for you? And she was like, yeah, sure. That would be really helpful, because she knew she had paper stacked everywhere and she felt like you could see that. And this is something that I recognize for people. I can see the chaos of their mind, how it's happening in their space.
Yeah.
And so I can see how if we rearrange the space, it will ease the chaos in their minds and in their energetic body as well.
Yeah.
And so I started there. I just said, let me do this for you. And I did. And she was just really mind blown about how it shifted everything for her. And actually even her treatment started going better and she started healing on different levels. So she brought me to her house to do the same thing. And I did her whole house. And then other professors in our department started hearing about it. And so I started doing their spaces and then their families and then their neighbors and their families. And so it just kind of spread naturally. And then that ended up being my business as I graduated college and moved to New York City. I just went for it.
That is so cool. That is so awesome.